Yo, what up? What up? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Jay's Sideline, man. Of course, shout out to the rest of the FNS family. Matt, Lawisha, my wife, Andrea. Wives Unscripted, Freeze Corner. So this Monday morning, besides the temperature, man, what I got for y'all this morning, we're going to talk about the 4 playoff games that went down this past weekend, man. We got the matchup set for the conference championships. So, to get it started off, on Saturday was some big games going on that day, man. The AFC had the Kansas City Chiefs versus Houston Texans. A lot of folks is complaining, man. They starting to see that the league is like making it clear kind of who they want to at least be there, which is, in my personal experience, this isn't far-fetched from being the truth. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they're having the benefit of the whistle right now with the refs, man. At least that's what the consensus is, man. They kind of making it obvious, man. And you know what? The thing is, I can't say for sure that Houston played well enough to where even if they didn't have that benefit, the Chiefs did. I can't say that they played well enough to still win the game. I can't say that. If the refs was not showing any biasness here, I can't say that they played well enough to win the game. The Chiefs, this is a battle-tested team for the most part, but a whole lot of their games this year has been down to the wire, one possession type stuff. They're like, I ain't gonna say that they're not uncomfortable with these situations, but they've been able to come out winning with a lot of these situations. And look, the refs showing that they're pulling for a specific side is nothing new. How many times did Tom Brady benefit from this? Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, it's just right now, this is the social media era, and so it's going to get a whole lot of extra attention. But that's neither here nor there, man. Based on the matchups, what I got to see of the game, man, Stroud didn't handle himself bad, but he didn't show that he belongs up there in that top tier of quarterbacks yet. And I know a lot of that has to do with the fact he didn't have his 2 big guns with him going into this game because they got hurt during the season. We've seen Stephon Diggs get hurt in the beginning of the year, out for the year. And then we seen Tank Dell get hurt towards the end of the year, out for the year. And that leaves him with Nico Collins, who has had a really good year this year. And then that leaves him with some other receivers that haven't proven anything yet, like John Mechie, the former Alabama wide receiver. I believe he was the one that had that, he had some kind of cancer or something like that caused him to not play the first year. Like, that was it's just good to see him playing football again, man. Joe Mixon out there still running the ball well, which is, me personally, I think the recipe to beat the Chiefs is to commit to the run, early and often, because you look at the Super Bowls in the past, the very first one against the 49ers, had the 49ers stayed committed to running the ball instead of trying to get Jimmy Garoppolo his stats, had they would have stayed committed to running the ball, we wouldn't even be having a conversation about them having this dynasty. You know? I mean, they beat the 49ers twice in the Super Bowl. They beat the Eagles. You know, it's really like, when you look at football these days, a whole lot of these offenses is like trying to gear themselves or gear the offense to where the quarterback makes the game-winning plays. The quarterback makes the game-winning throws or whatnot, instead of just committing to running the football when it's shown that it works. When it's shown that it works, that's kind of crazy. But hey, it is what it is. I'm pretty sure, I mean, the league supposedly came out and backed up the calls that the refs made this time. Normally they be on some stuff like, oh yeah, well they should have called this, or they should have called that instead, or this wasn't a call. But they came out backing up what the refs called. So I mean, I don't know if this is them just, you know, trying to throw it in your face like, yeah, we making sure of this, or if it's actually the truth, man. Like, you can't really say with these dudes. You know, business is always going to take first priority with these guys instead of the actual product being a high quality product. You know, like Matt said, anytime money gets involved in anything, that's no longer 100% authentic. And you can do that with every sport. You can go down the line. But it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, man. Again, for the AFC Championship, playing at home. And yesterday, they found out who they were going to be playing. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills matched up yesterday. And, man, look. Lamar Jackson and them, man, they couldn't pull it off. You know, I could say that maybe that interception that Lamar threw is probably the most critical play or turnover for them. You know, it's one of those things where we still waiting on Lamar to have that MVP caliber performance in the playoffs. And right now, I have to wonder if we ever going to get it, to be honest with you. Because Lamar Jackson, he's always been like, this has always been the thing with him. It's always been like, can you win throwing the ball? You know, like, he doesn't have that on his resume yet when it comes to the big playoff games. You know, he kind of like struggle. And I'm not saying that he hasn't played well in any playoff games. It's just on the biggest matchups, the ones where his biggest foes, where he match up against. When he plays against a Patrick Mahomes, when he plays against a Josh Allen, when are you going to have that game like you had against Tampa in the regular season? You know, that's what everybody's looking for when it comes to Lamar Jackson, because we know he's talented. We know he scares the life out of you when it comes to running the football on the scrambles and stuff like that. But throwing the ball is just not up there yet. And so it's like, you need to have one of those performances where you essentially say, like, I'm more than here in the league. Like, I'm actually running this league now. Like everybody has to go through me. Kind of like how Patrick Mahomes did when he first, you know, started his winning. You know, Patrick Mahomes, he was out here lighting it up. Now, given that was with Tyreek Hill and them, but, you know, he still did it. You know, he did it throwing the rock. And he was slinging it all across the yard. Young Kelsey, which is like, you can tell Kelsey's like, he's like on his like last leg, bro. Like, he's on his real last leg. Like, they need to invest in the replacement, if you ask me. But the Kansas City Chiefs, man, they still played well enough to win the game, bro. Getting sacks at certain times, like you seen Stroud wasn't completely comfortable back there. Like, they was getting to him. So that's the matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Buffalo Bills. And, you know, this is going to be another one for the history books, I guess you could say. The Bills beat them in the regular season, so it's not like they're not capable of doing this at all. But they go into Kansas City. Everybody already knows the thing with the refs now. But the league also has somebody else that they rooting for on the other side, and Josh Allen. This is going to be an interesting one, y'all, because like every game that they've had has gone down to the wire, pretty much. And the Chiefs, they've gotten a key piece back, or a couple of key pieces back, that they can put in their game plan rotation now, because Isaiah Pacheco is back. Not saying that I know that he's 100% healthy, but I know he ran it a little bit yesterday. But they got Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, the original guy that they had at running back when they won their Super Bowls the first time. You know? So you got two guys that you can give the rock to run the ball. And then at receiver, they got Marquise Hollywood Brown back, man. The speed demon. Small little speed demon guy. So they got him and D-Hop. They got Juju Smith-Schuster and Kelsey, which he can still play, but you can tell, like I said, it's going to be an offensive showdown, I feel. Because Josh Allen, he working with something over there too, man. James Cook, Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper. They got Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox at tight end. I don't know why they don't, if you ask me, they don't throw them the ball enough, but you know. And I don't know about any injuries that they may be dealing with on offense right now. But I know they got enough players over there that, you know, this could be the offensive show that everybody wants to see. You know, that both teams putting up 40 again, or 50 like it was in that one game that they had, that when it went to overtime and both teams were steady putting points on the board. You know, that's pretty much what the league is trying to push. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, man. I mean, I can't say that I'm pulling for one over the other. Like, I kind of really don't care about this one right now. I mean, like, I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan, and I'm not the biggest Patrick Mahomes fan. I will say over the past couple of years, I will say that Patrick Mahomes, he's been showing that he's a bit of a crybaby, man. And it's easy to understand why anybody wouldn't like him. I'll say that much. Josh Allen, he cool, man. Like, they both really elite level quarterbacks, right? But one thing that Josh Allen has that concerns me, like, he be trying to run folks over. And I think they be taking advantage of these rules because they know defenders ain't going to try to come up and lay the lumber like that on no quarterback, because that's when the personal fouls and all that other stuff come out. And I just don't think that quarterback should be trying to do all of that. But I guess in this league he can get away with it, because not only does he have the referee's protection, but he also doesn't have to worry about getting hit by like a Ray Lewis or a Sean Taylor or Ed Reed or, you know, a Troy Polamalu, you know, those kind of guys from the past. Brian Urlacher, Luke Kuechly, you know, like Patrick Willis. You know, he ain't got to worry about. There is nobody like that in this league. Nobody. And so I guess he can get away with what he does. But, you know, this is going to be looking like they setting up to be like a shootout potential game here. And look, if I'm going to be honest about this, man, like, I really do not care who wins. I really don't care who wins right now out of those two. Because I feel like whoever it is that wins out of those two, they're going to lose the Super Bowl. I really do. So that's a good little transition to the NFC. The NFC, the biggest game, at least for up here, the Detroit Lions hosted the Washington Commanders, man. And this was a game that I personally felt that Detroit was still going to win. It was just going to be closer than what people thought. And boy, was I wrong. Because Washington came out and they just pretty much showed that they was going to be comfortable in this game from the very beginning. And unfortunately, again, the Detroit Lions suffered another key injury to their team. The very first drive for Washington, Amik Robinson, a little bit of friendly fire here. Amik Robinson, he's making the tackle. Then I think his name is Jack Campbell. He comes and he runs to lay the boom on the ball carrier while Amik got him wrapped up. And like all his force lands on Amik's arm. And when he falls down, like when I seen that, that looked like his arm was broke. His arm looked it broke to me. This didn't look like no just stinger. This looked like it was broke. And they never came out and said that. His arm looked broke to me. So, right off the top, they lose another starter on defense. And then they you know, didn't commit to running the football like they were supposed to. Like they was out here, I guess they was trying to look out for have Jared Goff have one of them games, right? I guess. But like Jahmyr Gibbs was out here getting busy. Like they should have trusted in him to run that football all the way to the W. And they had David Montgomery back. Like it's not like they had to just completely lean on him. Man, look, I don't know, man, but Washington though, they came into this game with the 30th ranked run defense. My game plan would have been to run it down their throats and then live off of play action. That would have been my game plan, man. But Washington came out though on offense. They looked like Detroit wasn't going to be able to stop them too much at all. Neither. They didn't stop them too much at all. Jaden Daniels, even though he a rookie, I was impressed by the way he handled the blitz. Because every single time they sent the blitz, he knew exactly where to go with it. He knew exactly where to go. See, like this is like one of those games where you kind of like how I was talking about with Lamar Jackson. This is one of those games where Jaden Daniels is kind of showing that, he's going to be here. Now, Jared Goff is not one of the best quarterbacks in the league when it talks about like them tier 1 guys that you can lean on him and he'll carry you to the win. Jared Goff, he lives off of the run game being established, and then he'll be able to do what he does. Well, funny thing is the run game got established, but they didn't commit to it enough. Not like how they did when they played against Minnesota, man. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs, he had 4 touchdowns, I think it was, in that game. 3 of them running, 1 of them receiving. Like, I don't know, man. But anyway, Detroit, the city is hurt because they lost a game that everybody thought that they should have won. Even with all the injuries, they thought they should have won. Amon-Ra St. Brown played well. Jameson Williams, he even had a fairly decent game. Outside of that one little trick play end around that they had where he threw the ball and it turned into an interception. Mike Sainristil, like, he out here for real. He had 2 big-time interceptions in this game. A graduate of Michigan. Won the national championship with them. And he gets drafted by Washington, goes to Detroit for the playoff game, and has 2 of the biggest plays on defense that helped his team win the game. What about that? But Jaden Daniels, man, he looked real good, man. And Terry McLaurin, man, like, he had that one play, man, where he split the defenders and ran all the way up for a touchdown. Man, look. There comes a certain point where with Detroit, with all the injuries, it's like, I don't know what you expect me to do. Like, you could argue with the game against Minnesota that Amik Robertson, I should say, Amik Robertson, he was the X factor in that game because he was able to lock up Justin Jefferson. And he's been doing this since high school. They've been playing against each other since high school, competing in Elite 11 competitions and stuff like that. So it's like, he wasn't afraid of that matchup. He welcomed that matchup. He already knew he had, he already knew that he had the recipe to stop or slow down severely Justin Jefferson. And it did. But then Sam Darnold, he can't handle the blitz. Sam Darnold probably is not viewed the same anymore because everybody sees the recipe. But when I parallel that, or when I contrast that to Jaden Daniels, look, every single time they tried to blitz him, he knew where to go. He was ready. So shout out to the Washington Commanders. Unfortunately, Detroit is in pain. And, and it sucks because I feel like if Detroit was going to win a championship, I felt like this was a year to do it. And then they have the most injuries, and then now both the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators up for head coaching jobs, and they most likely going to get that. So you're going to have 2 brand new coordinators on each side of the ball. And now, the new coaches, whoever they are, they got to show that they can have the same type of caliber play calling that these guys did to help them be as good as they was. So Washington goes to the NFC Championship after the results yesterday of the Rams and the Eagles. So they're going to go to Philly. And I'm going to say this about that Eagles and Rams game. If it wasn't for that snow falling down and whatnot, I think the Rams probably was going to take that because they was playing well enough to do that. Now, Saquon, he showed out and he did his thing in that game. But Jalen Hurts is what concerns me. I feel like if Philadelphia was to lose any big playoff game or even the Super Bowl if they go, Jalen Hurts is going to be the reason why they lose. because this is a team that has everything. They have everything that you could want as a quarterback. 2 top receivers in the league. Dallas Goedert at tight end, Saquon at running back. And one of the best offensive lines in the league. What more can you ask for? But Jalen Hurts, he ain't really all that good at throwing the ball. Defensively though, like Jalen Carter's being shown that he's kind of like unblockable here. Pair him with Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. I hate that Nakobe Dean ain't there because I liked him even though he was undersized. But Zach Bond making a lot of plays for them. And then the secondary, Darius Slay, the 2 rookies, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the backfield. Like, they got everything. They got everything. Except that elite thrower. And I think that would be the reason why they would lose if they lose at all. But playing against the Rams, Matthew Stafford, like, before that snow was coming down, man, he was slinging that thing across the field, man. Like, it was going all across the yard. And I feel like had that snow would have not came down, I feel like we probably would have been getting a little bit different results. Jared Verse out here showing that he's going to be here for a while. You know, talking about the Philly fans, which is like, in all honesty, he ain't lie. Philly fans is kind of wild, man. If y'all ever, like, care to look it up, just look up Philadelphia Eagles fans, bro. And just, like, see how they act. Like, I don't know why, but just see how they act. They, like, really, like, on some other stuff, man. So he didn't tell no lie when he said what he said about the fans now, saying that he hates them and all that other stuff. Like, a whole lot of people share that same feeling, dog. A whole lot of people share that same feeling when you're just talking about fans. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Saquon playing for them, I probably wouldn't root for them at all. Just because of the fans. Not that the roster is not good, and I wouldn't acknowledge it as good, but like, the fans make you not want them to win based on the way they act. So, hey, it is what it is. But the Rams, man, look, Jared Verse had himself a game. I forgot how many sacks he had that game and how many pressures, how many hits. Like, he was out there doing his thing. He backed up all his talk. So they can't say nothing about him outside of the fact that his team lost. Puka Nacua, I remember seeing him. He did have a big drop in this game, unfortunately. And that was something that it can't happen in games like this, but it happened, you know. So the Eagles is going to host the Commanders. This is going to be a closer game than what people think, too, because this is divisional foes playing against each other. And, you know, this is another game where defensively the Commanders should have a challenge on their hands, a big challenge on their hands, because they run defense is still bad, and they're going to go play against a team that has Saquon Barkley. This is going to be all about whether or not they are going to commit to giving Saquon the ball and letting him run them to victory. That's pretty much what this is going to be. Are they going to be smart enough to stay with the run? Or are they going to start trying to get Jalen Hurts his numbers, A.J. Brown his numbers, because they had some sideline stuff or some stuff going on to where it's like, you know, they, you know, players is mad that they not getting their touches and they want to have a they want to have a say in the win. Look, man, this is one of those games where Jaden Daniels again can help his team to not only keep it close but possibly win it. I think they split in the regular season. They split victories in the regular season. Washington won the first time. Philly won the first time in a close game, for what my man said. That's a Commanders fan. And then Washington won a close one in the game where Jalen Hurts got hurt. And I forgot who came in after him. Oh, Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Kenny Pickett. Yeah. So that's going to be the matchup, man. Like, if I'm calling it anyway right now, it's going to be Philadelphia versus Kansas City again. I wouldn't be mad if the Buffalo Bills went, but it doesn't matter to me who comes out the AFC, because I feel like Philly is going to hoist the trophy if they commit to giving Saquon the ball. Now, if Washington goes to the Super Bowl, I would be pleasantly surprised and happy about them results, because, like, it's nice to see the new team win, or it's somebody completely different that hasn't been in the playoffs yet. I mean, this is their first time in the playoffs in a while. I think the last time they made the playoffs, they was a wild card team and they lost to Tampa. Back when they had Brady on that Super Bowl run that they had. But yeah, let that be the case, man. I'll be pleasantly surprised. The Commanders versus the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills. At that point in time, anybody can win it. Literally, in my opinion. I feel like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, they would all stand just as much a chance of winning as anybody else. But if Philly makes it with that roster that they got from top to bottom, I feel like this is going to be the toughest team to beat, because eventually talent factors into everything. So we'll see what happens with it, because this is going to be an interesting thing going on. Interesting couple of games going on. But that's all I got for this morning. Look out for another show to come tomorrow to react to the national championship game, Notre Dame versus Ohio State tonight. That's going to be something that I think most fans think that Ohio State's going to win. But I do feel like Notre Dame has a chance in this game to at least keep it close, and possibly uncomfortably close. But we'll see how it actually plays out. So that's all I got. Y'all be easy on this Monday morning. Have a good day at work if you're going. Peace.